All right, everybody, welcome back to Oop to Premium. And in this particular segment, we're going to go over pretty much all the new updates, topics, all the problems that I've been kicking around. And, even though I've got this far, Oopta is a forever project. That's something people don't understand. This is something that I want to everyone to enjoy forever. If they have the opportunity, of course. And so, I'm always trying to figure out how to improve this, right? And one of the running controversies in UFTA has always been the trading house and the greenhouse, right? Well, it's pretty much these three, right? Hopefully you can see these. All three of these have been a source of just like constant indecision. When you're trying to create something that will just last and last, that's not hard. That's hard to think of, right? I certainly can't do that alone. But with the help and thought and input and feedback of others. I've come a long way and I figured this out. But basically what I did was the trading house and the greenhouse switched places, okay? And they've done that a couple times since I started creating UFTA. And the reason that for this latest change, the only reason for it is not to create confusion. We already have plenty of that, right? We don't need more. It was simply because the trading house, originally the trading house had a function that was not related to anything having to do with markets or market strategy or anything like that. And to me, that really didn't make sense, right? If you're going to have an item that focuses on that sort of thing, it seems to me it really ought to relate to what happens in the market. And so that's why, with great reluctance, right? Because the more solid UFTA becomes, the more people get a chance to check it out, look at it, the fewer changes should be made, right? I mean, that's kind of the thinking, and so I'm not really adding, there haven't been any like serious rule changes for a long time. Most of it's been just like nip and tuck, make it prettier, whatever you want to call it, sorts of cosmetic additions. And so, but there's nothing been fundamentally changed, right, in the game mechanic itself. Well, and that's a good thing, to reduce confusion. But, like I said, the trading house now has a function that is more related to markets, right? Moving things in the market to your advantage is the function of the card. And whereas the greenhouse now, it switched places, it has a little bit lower value, 15. But it shouldn't be neglected because it also provides some tremendous advantages, right? Because if you can swap out anything from the draw bag and anything from the discard pile, that's a serious benefit in and of itself. And it's more than a few UFTA games have been won simply due to that fact, right? And so, anyway, so that's kind of the major change there. As far as game components go, nothing else has changed. But the other major update is just a few added features. For one thing, when you're playing your friends and family, you need to make sure that they understand the difference between basic UFTA and how to score and how to understand subsidies versus advanced UFTA, right? In basic UFTA, basically your score is all of your assets and all of your hunger tokens, right? If you add those up, that's your score, and that's pretty easy to figure out. That's also used to calculate subsidies. In UFTA Advanced, if you notice, you are no longer counting your assets, right? Because those are counted as penalties against you that go in your cup, and that shouldn't be included in your final score. And so those are not included, right? But things that are included are marker tokens and the depreciated value of the adversity cards, right? So if I got like adversity cards like this, I buy one. Its depreciation value of 3 tokens is what's counted every time you do subsidies. So if I got a couple marker tokens on here, right? To do an example, real life example, a likely one. What is my score, right? Like right now, as it stands. My score is all my marker tokens, all my depreciated adversity cards, and then my general funds, okay? So here in the general funds, I would just count what I have. Looks like what, 12, and then I got 10 marker tokens worth, and then I got 3 tokens worth of depreciated adversity card for what, about 20 some points, okay? And so that's how I would figure out what's my subsidy amount. Whenever somebody harvests big and we got to figure this out, that's how we determine it, right? Okay, so that takes care of scoring. Okay, the other thing we want to figure out is the recent tractor return issues, which if you follow those videos through, you'll figure it out yourself. Like, oh yeah, that sort of makes sense, right? Very cool. And so with this particular session of UFTA, I guess with all those updated ideas, I just want to figure things out. And especially if there's just a few lingering questions, we're not quite sure how to play, what's going on here. There's plenty of resources for you. But, you know, UFTA is a vast, vast subject. You know, it's like scientific names of all plants and creatures, or some just giant topic that could fill up libraries easily, right? And so we have to be careful. We gotta keep things simple. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna play a few rounds, and then if something extraordinary happens, I will always use the most up-to-date information to let you know like exactly what to do in a couple of these interesting circumstances, right? Okay. So with that in mind, let's just play a game here. See how far we get. Okay. First, we're gonna get the dice. Yeah, I was kind of hoping, you know, all those great chess players out there. You don't have to be great at chess, but there are some certain similarities, I guess, between UFTA and chess and maybe football. But you know, this isn't an athletic contest, right? You don't have to you don't have to get injured, right? Which is nice. At least I think so. But you know, that's where the big money is. Men getting hurt. I don't know. Doctors have something to do. No, they're busy. So anyway, here we go. There's a gamble. Yeah, I guess we can gamble. Let's start off. Now, notice that in UFTA Advanced, there is a little bit difference from the first game, right? We have those 3 rounds of easy peasy, you know, smooth sailing. Not because, you know, you don't really need breaks in UFTA Advanced because it's harder. It's simply that all the players, all the growers have more options available to them each turn. And so the gameplay is far more dynamic, far more varied, right? There's a lot more going on. And, you know, the best part of this is I'm not that good at it. I play it a lot, but I'm not an expert. Okay, here we don't do a 1 roll. Oh, here's another update I thought of. Actually, my dad actually thought of this, so it was really cool. He thought the adversity cards should be shuffled every time there's a growing season. And that, I think, is a pretty good idea, and here's why. Even though some people love counting cards, that's kind of what draws them in to show off that particular skill set. In Oofta, I don't think it's quite as important. You do need to keep track of things, but the spontaneity and the variety of gameplay really make it difficult to pin down the probabilities and statistics of everything that'll happen. And so you just need kind of like a small working knowledge of what's going on, so you can do better in the long run, right? All right, so here's a 1. We're going to disregard that and roll again. Now productive. Again, one of the things I'm really proud of with Oofta is that everyone begins on a level playing field. It's truly, I mean, it's almost like an employer. It's equal opportunity. You start, everybody starts at the same level, and then you use your creativity and the bounces that go your way, the opportunities, right? And then you try to make the most of what you're given. So that's pretty, to me, that seems like a pretty cool concept. Maybe I'm alone in that thinking, I don't know. But anyway, so here's a 4. And what are we going to plant today, brain? I don't know. Bees. Okay, so we do that. Here's this. Yeah, and there may not be any tractor returns in this particular presentation, but that's all right. So there's peas. Make sure we get the change right. 2 go in the cup, like so. Now here's the cool thing, you know, the cost to actually make Oofta is why I have these paper cups. It's actually very expensive to put this all together. A final retail price would be about $350. And you know, convincing somebody to pay that much for a game that would be an uphill battle, right? But if you saw like all of the effort that actually goes into it, then you would begin to understand like why this is so. Okay. But anyway, I really have some nice. I have everything theoretically in 3-dimensional computer software programs, but the reality is that for now, I just got a cup. I have a beautiful design. So anyway, so here's 4. Productive. Is it wrong to sabotage early in the game? Oofta is still a very young game, right? Comparatively speaking. So this may be a mistake, I don't know. So we sabotage once and then we disc. And we're a half step behind now, right? So sometimes, you know, if you talk to major chess players, they'll talk about tempi and maintaining a good tempo. In this case, this player lost initiative. They lost initiative, right? But they went on the warpath and they decreased the ability of someone else. And so, you know, that's a tough call on Oofta. You're not sure what the right thing is to do. Okay, so we got that. Here we have a 5, and we're going to go with squash and spinach. Spinach seems like a good idea. And here, you know, here's another point in Oofta I wanted to be very careful about. Early round successes, right? There shouldn't be anything early in the game that is decisive, right? You know, that's like the opposite of a good game, right? You don't want a good game where, oh, yeah, they figured something out in round 2. Like, what? Why would you? That's pointless. So you have to make sure there's no gaping early success. This person enjoys early success, but there's like 0 reason to think that they're just going to run away with it, right? Okay, so here's 5 productive. Okay, here we don't do 1s. Ooh, now I can sabotage. So yet again, I'm faced with kind of a difficult decision. I am eager to harvest this, but I could sabotage them and harvest, right? But the opposite thinking of that is, I do what I want on this turn, I collect, and then I can spend something maybe on the opposite, on the second half of this, right? In fact, that's what I think I'll do. Here's an interesting idea. So I pay my last token, but notice that I'm not obligated to do tractor return. Because I'm just harvesting spinach on the wrong one. Ah, crap. So this person, check this out. So here's an example of a missed opportunity, right? Unpreparedness. We've got 10 tokens we could have put on this broccoli, right? We could have put some protection out there. We didn't do it. We didn't do it, so we lost our broccoli. See, and so that's how kind of failure and regret, make a bunch of mistakes, and sometimes lead to success. Or just a bunch of failure and mistakes. Okay, so here's sabotage. That's possible too. Sabotage. Now notice how, you can sabotage empty fields, right? If they're harrowed, you can still sabotage that and send that back to a less productive state, right? If you want to. They're not going to do that though. They want to focus on it. Gotta make some of that bling, yeah? You gotta make some bling. Okay. Okay, so now we have a good game intention set up, right? Somebody's gonna try to score big. Everybody else is gonna stop them. So let's see if they can. Whoa, looky here. I didn't see they had an adversity card. Already they could play it, and they do choose to play the card. Okay, so that was a good try. Cucumbers comes off, radishes comes off. It was a good try, but the problem is this is very valuable because it's very difficult to do, right? And it's already had some 5 tokens shed from it, right? So that's a difficult scenario. Okay, so moving on. Now we got sabotage. We're still in the first round of play, right? So we can't double sabotage. May not be worth it for them, so let's just keep going. It goes like that, and we're moving on. Sabotage again? There's a possibility, yikes. I mean, broccoli's really nice for them. Should they sabotage or not? I don't know. I mean, they already have a substantial lead. They got a substantial lead, so they're thinking, why not just forge? We can make some purchases, right? Why not purchase this, right? That's a good idea. Well, disc is looking good too, right? Gotta purchase a disc. That's always seems like, I always think of the disc as like George Washington, right? Or some hero, some national. Like, what do you call it, a workhorse? They got the 15. We got 5. Nobody has an adversity card, but it's still a risky thing, right? I feel that the more players playing, the harder it is probably to get that undercut crop, because they'll do everything they can, I would hope, to slow them down. Okay. Like that, sabotage. There it goes. Okay, so definitely you got to do a little bit of planning. You got to think about it a little bit if you're going to do that undercut crop stuff. Okay, so here's a broccoli. Okay, now here's another aspect of gameplay that I haven't demonstrated much, and that's locked in the market, right? At this point, this player could they could lock the market on something, right? If they wanted to. And I think they might want to do that. Because they're going to place marker tokens on these 2 items. Notice how they're only protecting at the 5 level, right? So if somebody acquires the trading house is has rock, paper, scissors. Trading house goes over the top of these, right? It'll cancel out those. You can move them anyway. But for everyone else, those are locked. They're not going anywhere. Okay. Unless you move them with sabotage, right? Yeah, so that's the chances you take. If you're pretty good at calculating the risks and the probabilities, then no. You'll have an advantage in Uta. Okay, so radishes chart. Ever shifting. I'm never certain. Or am I? Maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, see, this makes it a little bit more complex for this person too, because they gotta decide, well, is it more important to remove this, or is it more important to remove their actual piece, right? This may be protecting them in the future, right? So why not? I think in this case we'll just remove the piece, but they can't move, right? Because they're locked. Does that make sense? That's how that kind of a transaction takes place. I wanted to remove something. It's locked in the market. I could remove the marker token, sabotage it, or I could remove the actual item in the field. I chose the actual item in the field, so nothing moved, right? This couldn't move because it's got a marker token. So see, it's not that complex. It is complex to write the rules, though. I can tell you that. Okay, so there's that. That was sabotage, but then they have another action. Okay, so hopefully you can get an idea at this early stage, like what the new rules are. It's not move to advance isn't. It isn't more complex. I mean, it is, but it's not. It builds on everything that's already there, so it's not asking that much. If you know your basics, if you know the rudimentary, fundamental things going on.